A really good question to ask yourself is whether you want a better dream life or if you actually want to awaken. And those two things are very different. And I did share someone else's thread on this, so this isn't my original idea or anything like that. But I have found that a lot of people want to improve their dream life. So they want a better marriage, they want a better job, they want to improve some aspect of their life in some way. And that's noble. Don't we all want to do that? And we should want to do that because it is part of who we are and what identity we've chosen to be in this lifetime. Now, if you want a real awakening, that means it's the crumbling away of all the untruths and getting to the truth. So you have to see all the different ways that you actually lie to yourself. That is a very destructive process, but it's a really destructive process that brings about a huge rebirth. I see a lot of healers, a lot of light workers that they don't talk about shadow work and they don't talk about ego work at all. Myself and the other people that I work with, my partner and some of the other people that we do workshops with, we talk about this process all the time because it is also a very physical process in your physical body. So you have to understand how your body works, you have to understand what you feel inside, and you have to understand what's true and what's not true. An example that I gave at a workshop the other day was where there was a time in my life where I actually flipped around my intuition and the story that was going on in my head. It was a very long time ago when I was hiring someone for a position where I worked. I had everything screaming at me that hiring this person was a really bad idea. I even had people phone me and say, you really shouldn't hire this person. And they gave me reasons why. Now, I told myself that that screaming thing was me telling myself a story. That it would be fine if I hired this person. That was the lie, because I switched around my intuition and the storytelling. Because then what ended up happening was I hired this person, they tried stealing my job, they talked a lot behind my back, there was just so many things. After a couple years, I actually ended up quitting because I knew that if I had stayed, because I was in charge, that everyone was looking at me to fix it, they wouldn't actually see what the problem was, and we'd never get anywhere because it would always be on my shoulders. So that's an example of where I switched it around, where I lied to myself. Because what I really wanted and what my choice was out of desperation was I wanted support. I needed support in my job. I needed to have someone who was my age, who I thought that I could build with, and I made a wrong choice. Everything was telling me not to hire this person, and yet I did it anyway. So it was a really tough lesson in what actually my gut, my heart was telling me, and then how my ego told me a story, because if I didn't hire her, then I wouldn't have what I needed, but then I ended up not having it anyway. So this is the really tough part about understanding how you lie to yourself on a regular basis. And it's not to say that you're even doing it on purpose and not to blame yourself at all because you don't even know that you're doing it. When we have traumas, whether they're micro traumas that have built up over time, or they could be major life events or things that happen, we start to tell ourselves stories and we adopt those stories as a truth. And until we decide that we're going to heal from those untruths that we've told ourselves, then we don't really get anywhere. We always want to manifest more money. We always want to manifest all of these things. And I had to understand that my process of manifestation was going to be different because I was actually chipping away at all of those untruths. And you have to really get to the bottom of why you're not manifesting something. So while you can work with somebody who can help you manifest something like that, that's wonderful, because sometimes you can manifest things quite quickly because you can let go of whatever energy that was and then you're done. But if you're finding that your process is taking a little bit longer, take heart, because you know what? It is okay that it takes a little bit longer, because sometimes you have more layers that you have to get through. It's not just one thing. It's not just one past life thing. It's not just one thing. It's not just a core pattern sometimes, because that core pattern has many little spin-off stories. It's like all of these little soap operas that spin off from one major, motion event, right? So be gentle with yourself. It is a process. So always ask yourself, do you want true awakening, or do you just want to make your dream life better? It doesn't really matter what you want to do, where you're going to put your time and attention. But if you really want that awakening, it's the crumbling away of all of those untruths. So ask yourself if you're ready to see all the ways that you might tell yourself stories that just aren't true.